So quadratic factorization simplified. Now I would like to look at a few questions here and practice on how to do them using a new method to help us in factorization. So for this new method, we will be looking at the coefficient of the quadratic element. Like now we have here the coefficient of a squared, it is 1, and then I multiply this by 6. So we want to see how do you find the two numbers that when you add you get 5, when you multiply you get 6. So for this method we will be breaking down each into their products. Like 1 is the same as 1 times 1, then 6 is the same as 2 times 3. Remember 6 is also the same as 1 times 6, but I will ignore that one. So I will go for a product of numbers, or the numbers that I'm picking should be such that they are very much close to each other. So 2 is close to 3 more compared to 1 and 6. Then to find my numbers, I'll group them in this manner. So 1 times 2, that will give me a 2. Then this 1 times 3, it will give me 3. So my two numbers therefore are 2 and 3. So normally when you reach at this point, you don't need to continue further. Simply say your first factor will be a plus 2 because the first number is positive 2, and then a plus 3, the second number is 3. At this point you'll have factorized your question successfully. Let us look at number 2 or Roman 2. Same case. I have here the coefficient of x squared as 1. I want to multiply it by the number to the extreme right, which is 12. So I break 1 into 1 times 1, and then 12, there are options of 1 times 12, there are options of 2 times 6. There's also another option of 3 times 4. So the closest numbers there, of course, are 3 and 4. They are more close than any other pair. And then look at the manner in which I'm writing them. So I'm starting with the smaller times the larger. You can also find another scenario where maybe if you can flip so that you go with larger and smaller, it will still okay, so long as the order does not change. So if you go the big number times the small number for the first number, you should repeat the same order for the second number. For me, I'm picking to go with the small numbers. Now my grouping again, I'll start 1 and 3. I'll group them by multiplication to give me a 3. Then 1 by 4, that will give me again another 4, or 1 times 4, of course it's 4. Then I have my two numbers. If I look at them, I have 3 plus 4 gives me 7. 3 times 4 gives me 12. So I'll conclude by saying x plus 3 is the first factor, and then the second factor is x plus 4. That is the end of that particular question. That is the end of the particular question. Now, let's move on to part 3. And in this particular question, now you see it is changing a bit. Now we are having 4x. Now the coefficient is no longer 1. Now we are having a 4 here. So the working does not change. We will have 4 times now 25. So 4, I break it down to a 2 and 2. 25, I break it down to 5 times 5. Those are the closest numbers. So if I group, I'll have a 10, and I'll have another 10. So now to make my factors, instead of going for x now, I'll go for 4x. Then I'll take my first number, which is 10, positive. That is my first factor. Then the second factor, I repeat, 4x plus 10. So looking at my two factors, we have a common GCD, or a common number that can go into the two numbers in the factor. That is 4 into 4 and 10. The number is 2. So I divide through by the common number. Then my final answer becomes 2x plus 5, again 2x plus 5. So that one is the final answer. Lastly, Roman 4, I have my 3, I'm multiplying it by negative 8. So 3, I have 1 by 3. Now we are having a negative. Remember, if it was positive, I could have picked my numbers as 2 and 4. They are the closest. But if it is negative, the larger number, which is 4, now I will treat it, I'll give it the negative sign, and then I multiply them in this order, because when I give 4 the negative, it becomes lesser than 2. So remember, my order of small times big still stands. Then to get my two numbers, I'll have 3 times negative 4, which gives me negative 12. Then 1 by 2, this will give me 2. So my two numbers there are negative 12 and 2. Again, just to repeat, this is negative 8. If it was positive, or if it were positive, my two numbers would have been 2 times 4. But since it is negative, there is a new thing I'm introducing here. I'm saying now, on the two numbers, among the two numbers, which is 4 and 2, the bigger one, which is 4, I will convert it to become a negative, so that it is negative 4. And once I convert 4 to be a negative, the order of multiplying a small number times a big number, then now I'll go with negative 4, which is less than 2. So I'll multiply negative 4 times 2. So that now I can have my grouping to give me negative 12 and 2. Now to finish it off, now I have my two numbers. I'll pick now 3x. So I'll pick my 3x there. This is 3x. Then I'll start with the first number, negative 12. Then I will go to the next one, 3x. The next number is positive 2. So for the first factor, 3 is common. I can divide through by 3 by 3. This will give me x minus 4. The second factor cannot be simplified because we do not have a GCD. And that marks the end of factorization simplified. Hope you enjoyed.